Hey everybody, Jazzy here. I hope you had a great July. I missed you terribly, and I also missed the beta release of Waterlogged, the newest update to Don't Starve Together. I was considering doing a full guide on the new content, but I was gonna be way too late to that party. But what I will do is do a little rundown on the content and give some of my initial thoughts. And understand that I have yet to play a ton with this content in a survival game, so some of these attitudes are definitely subject to change. I like to keep an open mind, especially with new content. By far the best aspect of this update is the boat rework. Believe it or not, the floaty cookies are now an absolute treat to sail around. Masts and oars are more powerful, steering is more responsive, and the top speed is much higher. Even the single mast boats can move around at a decent tick. Also, anchors are not really required anymore, because boats will naturally slow down and eventually come to a complete stop. They still help if you need to stop quickly, and I'd recommend them for boats with regular sails because they take longer than Malbatross sails to pull back up. But this is great because we won't have boats go completely AWOL on the sea. Also, masts on boats will now close automatically when unloaded. So even if you accidentally keep a sail open and hop off your boat, you can just let it sail away, unload, and come to a stop. Then you could just go pick it up. No more eloping for Chester and Wavy.
Want feathers? Gosh.
Wait, bye boat.
What?
Bye Chester.
Wait, quick! Someone goose to the boat! Save it!
What? I'm crying.
Gotta get a couple souls.
This change is really going to make boat bridges more feasible when we don't need to worry about placing anchors on every single boat, because that's a resource cost that can really add up. Think, viewer, 2 boards, 3 cut stone, and 3 rope per boat. That's a massive savings. Another nice change with the boating mechanics is that players return to boats when they relog. Usually if the boat is in a different place, then a player will just teleport back to the portal. I know that happened a lot with players on my server living on the ocean. Even with an anchor dropped, it didn't take much for a boat to get moved, just enough to trigger a teleport. So this will be a very welcome update for sailors and sea base builders. Okay, I lied. There is something else with the update that is actually more exciting for me. After 8 years of development, Don't Starve Together has finally gotten support for 64-bit. DST has always been a very processor-intensive game, with lots of entities simultaneously awake and all these mob brains processing independently from each other. As a result, most dedicated servers and large bases inevitably tend towards heavy lag, regardless of the host computer's CPU. Now the game will finally have full access to the processing power of a 64-bit system, and I can't wait to load up a megabase when this update gets released. It's such a nice addition, and it's gonna make our in-game experiences overall just smoother and more enjoyable. Okay, let's talk about the new biome. I love the design. The mangrove was always one of my favorite biomes from Shipwrecked, and I appreciate that instead of just transplanting content from single player, which doesn't generally excite me, Klei took the feel of that biome and then designed something completely new and unique. My world seemed to generate 3 waterlogged biomes. I'm assuming that Klei is planning to add more biomes to the ocean, so I appreciate that we're still left with lots of open sea. But until we get more, it would be nice to have 1 or 2 more of these biomes generated, since 3 per world could take a while to find. The new mobs are pretty sweet. Grass gators drop tons of leafy meat, and they respawn super fast. You could just camp in the biome and start killing gators. You get 3 giant trees per biome, so by the time you kill the 3rd, the first gator will already be close to respawning. Just killing 1 gator will give you enough leafy meat for almost 2 full days worth of hunger. Combined with the monster meat you can get from the sea striders, plus the figs you can pick from the mossy vines, you have a biome that can provide a whole lot of food. It's a bit out of the way how it currently generates, but if you get one close to land, then it's definitely worth revisiting. I love the new trees! You saw me go BW over the Midsummer Carnival tree, and I feel the same way about the new above average trees. I believe they are the first entities to generate a canopy in DST, which mirrors the feel of Deep Forest from Don't Starve Hamlet. I see we have a new option to disable the canopy shadows, which will likely improve performance on potato computers. Now you can make your own above average trees by ramming a wild trunk and winching up the seed that drops into the water. Sail to where you want to plant it, presumably near land, and drop it back into the water. Wait for it to become fully grown, then rub it with some tree jam. Wait 4 days, give it another good rub, rinse and repeat. After the 4th hot and spicy rub, you get an above average tree trunk. Now, in addition to being totally awesome, they do provide summer protection against overheating and wildfires. I don't think this is going to become any new summer meta, mainly because the canopy doesn't cover that much area. I think I got it to cover like 4 tiles of land. So, unless you're building a base along a very narrow strip of land, there's still going to be areas of your biome not protected by wildfires. Same with the 30% rain protection. I mean, the trees are a late game luxury, and you'll have figured out seasonal management by the time you get some of these set up. Now, let's talk about figs. Until a few days ago, my main qualm with the planted trees was that they didn't grow mossy vines. So we'd still need to sail out to a waterlogged biome to get figs that will spoil in just 3 days. Not gonna happen unless I'm boat basing close to the biome. And then Klei be like, happy Monday, bitches. Look at that sexy hotfix. Whew. Woo! Look at that sexy hotfix. I can't say that sentence without cracking my voice. I give up. Above average trees grow mossy vines now, so we can have figs anywhere we want. You get 4 vines per tree, and the figs regrow every 3 days. So we can assess their value as a renewable and farmable food. This is stellar. Thank you so much, Klei. Now you can use figs to craft tree jam. Initially, you'll need 4 of them from a wild great tree trunk to make your first above average tree, but once that starts producing figs, you can make even more. They can brute force trees into their next growth phase, but I wouldn't recommend doing too much of that. You're basically converting glomergoop and figs into a couple of extra logs, which are easier to produce and less valuable. I do like that we have a new method of repairing our boat that doesn't leave the cookie looking like some Frankenstein of a baked good. I especially appreciate that glomergoop is a crafting ingredient now, because that junk will accumulate while glomer is around. As a food item, figs are pretty nice. The hunger values are the same as leafy meat, so 4 cooked figs gives enough hunger for a day. The crockpot recipes to me are a mixed bag. The fig stuffed trunk is expensive. I mean, yeah, it gives you 60 health, but you get a lot more hunger from just eating the cooked ingredients separately. I don't know, considering the cost of this dish, I really think the hunger value should be higher. Figgy Frogwitch is the same thing. Again, the cooked ingredients restore more hunger than the dish, and the sanity gain doesn't really make up for that. I suppose it gets points for being super cheap, but Froggle Bunwich is still a better dish, and veggies are easier to farm. Figatoni is a pretty good recipe, and Praise Be can actually be hunger efficient. I'm always thankful for another non-meat healing dish. But this is pretty good for all 3 stats, and not at all expensive. I could definitely see Wirt getting into the Figatoni. Plant some trees near some farms, and you're all set. Fig kebab is definitely not hunger efficient, but it's so cheap that I actually don't care. Because what this dish does is let you take a monster meat or leafy meat and give it jerky stats. You can make this dish from food all found in a single biome, and I really like when the game gives us that. It's like unagi in the lichen field, except, you know, this dish is actually good. I'm a little bummed that figs are only worth 0.5 fruit. I'd have thought they would be treated as like a beefier fruit with more value than a berry, but I guess there aren't too many dishes that require full value fruit, so I won't whine about it too much. Yeah, all in all, this is an excellent update. The boat mechanics in 64-bit are going to change the experience of the game in a fundamental way. I'm a bit saddened that I just retired a Megabase world, and it may be a while before I actually get to experience some of this stuff in a survival game, but I cannot wait to line my shores with these beautiful trees. And I think giving the trees their own figs was a very good call. There's still the grass gators to attract us back to the waterlogged biome, but I appreciate that the big attraction can be moved closer to our bases. So well done, Klei. I can't wait to see what else you come up with to fill the ocean. I'm sure that it will be unique and beautiful. And let me know in the comments what you thought about the update. Is it good? Is there room for improvement? What's your favorite thing about it? Do you even like these reviews, or should I just shut up and play the game? I'm happy to do that too. Either way, thank you so much for watching. It is good to be home, and I will see you next time.